Hello, 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 and welcome to the Rag Company podcast. Looks a little different. New look, but same great flavor. And we got a few folks with us. What do we got going on, guys? I see a Dylan von Kleist.
Hello.
And a Phil Yu.
Hey, you guys.
All right, so for those who may not be familiar, I hope they're familiar, but if they're not, please introduce yourselves, starting with Phil.
Phil with Detailer's Domain out in New Jersey.
Awesome. So folks definitely know Detailer's Domain out in Jersey. And Dylan, introduce yourself to the fine folks.
Dylan von Kleist, marketing manager for Rupes, USA. Many appearances on the Rag Company podcasts, videos.
So hopefully
your
you recognize him. But either way, great to have you both here. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your very busy days to appear here on Zoom with us.
Clearly very busy.
Very busy. So, well, I mean, what are we going to do with our time today? It feels like we got some interesting developments going on in that we are still in our homes.
Yep. New reality, right?
I guess it's over. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, so it's crazy because we have been talking about this in regards to, not only what's going on, but also kind of what our future plans are for travel and events. And, people just finally got to watch the East Coast Adventure that we did last year.
No comment.
So, big shout out to Tim for getting that finished. But the fact is we've got the next one coming up very soon for that. But Phil has, we've been in touch with Phil. He's got a lot of stuff going on because you're kind of at the epicenter of the crisis, so to speak, Phil, with what's going on over in your end of the woods. So one of the things we thought was, hey, if we're all kind of stuck here, we're all kind of home, why not have a chat, record it, and let the folks at home kind of hear from the difference, because so many people get different reports. And I think the fun part, though, this time to look at is like with the internet, with Facebook, with Instagram, we're all more connected, so we can get a hold of people in other parts of the area. Like yesterday, we had an earthquake here in Boise, our first earthquake in 37 years.
And it was a 6.5?
6.5.
That's a good one.
And
yeah.
So I had people from all over texting us last night, texting myself, texting Carly, texting you guys, like just people asking. The great Jason Rose even texted me last night at like 11 o'clock when he got done watching the news. Said, "Oh my gosh, I just saw there was an earthquake in Boise." So, but it's kind of neat to see, and it's kind of nice to have these connections. So, what's going on with you, Phil, over there in New Jersey?
It's getting close to home. There's I think the last count, if I'm looking right now, I think we're over 77,000 cases. 77,000 cases in New York, and I think we're about 18,000 cases in New Jersey. I think that's the second state currently. I mean, we're so close to kind of the new, I don't know, I hate to say it this way, but ground zero that it's pretty intense. Let's put it that way. I mean, just in our shop alone, we're kind of working because we've had a lot of backlog.
Yeah.
From like a month ago. So almost everything here right now is a project. We're kind of doing if you order online, we'll leave it curbside for you. No interaction. Anybody that's leaving a car now, most of the newer cars have remote access. So we're asking them to leave it overnight and, text, we text them in the morning and it's just a very hands-off, not exactly what anybody is accustomed to in any kind of service, so it's hands-off. Hey, we're gonna, wipe down everything we touch inside, everything we touch outside. We're gonna give you the keys back in a Ziploc, all cleaned up, and you're free to take the car whenever you want, as of this time on. It's kind of like when you go pick up food at Panera, it's sitting there in a box for you. And that's weird for us just because we kind of handling, or we try our hardest to give the full concierge service. And this is very impersonable, but I think our customers, everybody kind of understands.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
the greater service to offer right now is less interaction.
Yeah, no touchy.
No
touchy.
course. Yeah, absolutely no touchy. No, we're not even looking at customers now. I mean, we're, you know,
Because they're
just
ugly.
like you stay there, we'll stay here. Your car's done. You know, so you know, we're already accustomed to sending photos of the whole process out to the customer, so they kind of already feel like they know what's up already. You know, before and afters, during shots, whatever. And that's it, really. It's, you know, I think, you know, just to give everybody out there an idea, we're easily 40 to 50% down from last year. I mean, that's just for all the guys starting up or all the guys that have been in the business for a long time. I think that's a very safe.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a conservative number, I think, too, but that's just putting into perspective, like, that's pretty crappy. It's pretty stressful too. I'm pretty sure you guys are going through the same thing, and the new reality is that this is the reality.
Yeah. And you kind of have to treat every car as if it's infected. You don't want to take chances with that kind of stuff. If you have the option, you really gotta approach everything carefully now, especially where you are, Phil.
Oh yeah. I mean, look, Kevin unloaded a skid yesterday. Like, kind of the guy was asking us to unload 3 skids, and Sue and Kevin are like, you can't go near that skid because of my, you know, kind of situation. And Kevin's like, I'm gonna be dead tomorrow. Kind of morbid, but like anybody.
Kevin, no!
It's usually when people develop a humor, like right on the cusp of danger.
Yeah, it's like we're trying to keep it up. I mean, it's so serious.
Yeah.
But we're keeping it on the lighter side, or you know, I mean, look, we're in a big facility. There's only a couple of us here. We're on the safe side. Even our UPS and FedEx drivers are wiping down everything they touch.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, it's kind of like the new. It's just something you have to do now.
Yeah.
So not to be depressing, but that's kind of how it is. We're just very fortunate that we're still getting drips and drabs of service and orders here and there.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, that's what it comes down to.
Well, the good thing is it's not like nobody is not understanding why. Everybody's pretty much in the same boat at this point. I mean, it's not like people go, well, why are you doing all this? It's, I mean, I hope everybody is pretty well aware. Nobody's been in a coma or under a rock. So,
yeah.
So, I mean, Morgan is driving somewhere.
What?
Nice.
Your directions are being cast over the whole podcast.
So
where are we
driving to?
Me?
Nice.
Turn left ahead.
Oh, thank you.
Speed up. You're driving too slow.
Yeah, no, it's definitely been strange. You know, like we said, basically with, you know, where we're at Idaho, like, we're shelter in place, schools are closed, public offices are closed, parks are closed. But in Idaho, it's weird because people are still going out and doing stuff. They started to kind of reach out a little more, is that, like, you know, every time I go on a walk with my kids, people move to the side of the sidewalk or they walk out into the street. My wife and I have been going on walks at night because there's literally no cars out. Like, it's weird how dead it is.
Surreal.
Quiet. But the, you know, like at the rag company, you know, we are still staying very busy, which is good. And our team, so all of us upstairs in offices have had to go home because Carolyn has basically stated, I don't want the 15 essential employees downstairs that need to be packing orders and getting those orders out. You know, there's 31 people in the building. For her, it's like, if I can cut half of you and make you go home and work from home, these 15 now have, you know,
better chance,
bigger, and they space the building out. You know, they've got tables and chairs out into the warehouse with the heat on, and you know, for packing and sorting and all that. And so she's enacted social distancing. Before, when we were up in the offices, we were hand sanitizing and cleaning our offices every 2 hours and wiping everything down. But
every door handle, every keyboard,
everything. Yeah. So she's
kind of
just trying to keep.
Similar thing that we did. We anybody who could work from home, myself, anybody admin, customer service, luckily we already had video conferencing in place. We set up a remote phone system so that customer service could answer their phones from their cell phone and things like that. And it was just to buy us time because the Colorado governor wanted us to reduce the amount of employees. That was kind of the first measure. And we go, well, those that can go home and work from home. And then that way the factory employees can stay at the factory. It's since gone a little bit tighter. And so now we're a little bit closer to full shutdown. But yeah, same kind of deal. It's just, if you don't have to be here, don't be here is kind of was the idea. And obviously people who are building tools and shipping orders have to be there. I can do whatever it is that I do from anywhere. Yeah.
Well, and that's like Anthony and I, we can do anything, we can work from wherever. And that's been our way. And Anthony and I do most of our work on our phones anyway. So, it's been easy for us to make that change. Dane does a lot of editing. So it was
a little harder because I have a hot rod rig at work, and then I didn't have anything except for a really old computer at home. So I recently just picked up a little Mac Mini and some other stuff, and now I can do stuff from home here. I have my little mic set up. It's all temporary, but at the same time, maybe I'll just keep it this way for future needs.
Yeah, but a lot of our employees actively pulled their units, their computer systems, and took them home with them.
Yeah.
I want to see Dane load up the entire podcast studio and take it home.
Yeah. Well, he basically built it. Yeah. But we've also had our new facility working on, so we've been moving over into that. That's needed a lot of work just to get it ready. And so we've been called in. Jeff's called us in a lot to just go work there and put us in that building. And so Friday, like Anthony and I went in and wiped all the trussing down. Cleaned all the dust off of everything, cleaned the floors, stuff like that. So we're all trying to stay busy, I guess. It's kind of weird now. You're right. It's kind of it's strange, Phil, and I know Dylan knows this as detailers, like the same with Anthony. It's weird to be hands off with a customer. Yep. We all focus so hard on customer service and like being able to talk to your customer and be friendly with them, but then to be like, hey, here's your keys. They're in a Ziploc bag. Pick it up when you're ready. We hid them here under the tire or behind the bumper. Like, it's
the friendliest thing you can do is just not show up.
That's kind of an interesting question. I watched, there was on the news the other day, and it kind of, in this vein, it made me think of this idea. They were talking to a real estate agent who is still closing deals on houses, even though everything's shut down. And he's doing it all via Zoom and FaceTime and stuff. So when the people want to do a walkthrough, they don't leave their house. He goes and does the walkthrough holding his phone to show them everything. They virtually close the documents. They virtually do all that other stuff. And then the keys are left in an envelope somewhere for them to go pick them up. And the thought that popped in my head is like, could you not do a detailing consultation this way? I mean, you can't get a true read on paint, but I was thinking like, I'm waiting for some detailer to go, yeah, I'm doing this. Customer contacts me and I send them a Zoom meeting invite and I tell them to point the camera at different parts of the car. And then I provide them an estimate. Cause I mean, that's a big part of what's interrupting business for these guys is they're obviously it's a very, like you said, it's an in-person interaction. They're handing the car off and blah, blah, blah. You can't even estimate really without the person being there. So why not virtually, provide the estimate? Yeah, I can take that scratch out. Yeah, I think I can get that out. And yes, like this is the price. Bring your car here, leave the keys in the ignition, and I'll come outside and get it after you've left or whatever might be the new reality, at least for the next couple of months for some detailers.
Well, the way I see it is that you can be a lot less nitpicky, when the customer can be a lot less nitpicky, right? And so, especially if you're not having to shine a light on anything, or you can basically just say, "Oh, hey, it is what it is." And I mean, I don't think people are going to be nitpicky. I think that they're going to be happy with just a detailed car. But I think that is definitely one way to do it. Would just be the whole Zoom interaction type of off no hands, no nothing. And but yeah, I think it's a good thing though.
they're doing a video conference trying to get the quality of paint for you, and you're looking at it's like 360p, and you're like trying to decipher which
Pixelated,
pixel.
I don't know.
Which one is the scratch? I can't see it.
Well, you know that there's still people out there that will be able to see right through that crappy. They're gonna say, "What's that there on the hood?" Oh, that's a piece of dust. Well, can you wipe that off for me right now so I can see? Sure, I guess.
They will find a way. They will find.
That is a good idea, though.
All right,
It's a little bit
I am at my destination, so I gotta go.
All right.
All right,
Provide you with
Morgan, have
directions,
fun.
Morgan.
Yes, it was nice to talk to you guys for the drive. That was comforting. I didn't want to go through that alone.
No worries. Thank you for being here, and
Yes.
have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
So as far as all this other stuff goes, I mean, it stands to reason, especially with the shelter in place and these things taking hold now. Colorado, Idaho, they both have a very strong "you can't tell me what to do" kind of spirit to those states. And this is a real test for a lot of people, but it's been interesting to see, people who really understand social responsibility, this kind of thing, and like, okay, I get it now. I realize, there were a lot of jokes early on, but now people are really beginning to realize, because they're starting to find that there are people that they know who've been affected. And that's when it all starts to sink in for a lot of people. So the social distancing, all that stuff, it's turning into a more serious thing that more people are taking seriously every day. So
somebody said to me the other day on one of these video calls, they said it's kind of like how you used to play cooties when you were in elementary school. If people have a hard time understanding how this works, just have them remember what it was like to play a game of cooties, and if you're touched, you're infected. So
it's keep away.
Don't let anybody touch you.
Yeah.
Well, I was looking at Phil. It was like a week ago or whatever when you posted that you went into Chinatown and how dead it was.
Yeah.
Like that was eerie. It was like middle of the day or afternoon.
Chinatown has it's funny because the local reports now with Chinatown is I don't know, this gets into so many different things that I'm not really full on comfortable speaking of, but
then don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'm just gonna say it, but I just then the politics come in and all that. But what's funny is I have a bunch of friends that own restaurants in Chinatown, and they've been affected since right around early February when the whole thing started.
Yeah.
The start of the racism side of it, but they're foobarred. They're beyond foobarred right now. Like he let go of over 100-something employees. Out of like 5 restaurants or 4 restaurants, he now has only 4. The one partner is actually a chef for takeout, and then 4 other people on staff out of like 100 and change.
Wow.
So he's done. Like he's already called the banks for forgiveness, Amex for, no interest for the next 60 days. He's gonna do I know you guys have to be sort of following it, but there's the 10 grand instant kind of relief right now, followed by
the SBA loans.
Yeah, and then followed by the payroll thing that's going to launch tomorrow, Friday, that everybody's signing up for. Mm-hmm. So I mean, he's got to look into it. Think about it. Imagine what you guys experienced in New York all those couple of years coming through with all the restaurants and all that hustle and bustle.
Totally.
No, 50, 60, 70% of that is gone.
It's insane. It happened so quickly.
I mean, this was like, support Chinatown, support small businesses. I mean, that's what everybody is kind of trying to relay here. Like, don't go out, we'll send, food to your house, but support. So, and not on a big scale because there's only a few of us here, but we're just going, I'm kind of frowning, I'm kind of frowning upon the big franchises to shop at.
Yeah.
While you have the local guy that owns the deli, I mean, go there, That kind of, like, so with all that in mind, the guys in Chinatown that you brought that up, Levi, they're beyond hurting. When I went, the normal hustle and bustle on a Sunday afternoon, I mean, every store that I'm used to having open on the big streets were closed. I mean, and it's worse now. I mean, I have friends that live in Manhattan that are taking pictures, and they're like, you'd never see this ever. It's empty.
Yeah.
Times Square is empty.
It's unreal. I mean, like some of the images of Vegas, New York and stuff, it's like the airport was on the news this morning watching. There was like 3 people at DIA.
Yeah.
You just go, you'll never see this again, hopefully, we hope. But it's
or
crazy.
if you do, it means you're one of the last people left on Earth at that point.
Exactly.
I know. It's freaking crazy. I had a customer come in that worked for Delta, and he was telling me, when you heard on the news 3 weeks ago, they were getting rid of like 50% of their fleet and putting them back in the hangars. I think when he talked to me, when he picked up his car, he was just like, we're planning to put another 200 planes in storage in the Arizona hangars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why bother keeping them out? They're not going anywhere.
They're not. So they reduced it to like 200 active planes out of 896.
That's crazy.
Something crazy.
Well, and I don't know about you guys, but my house is under a flight path to the Boise airport. So I tend to hear a lot of planes. They're still relatively high up when they go over my house, but it's been so quiet the last, week or so. It's been eerie. And the only time I hear jets, I know it's probably a military plane because they're so much louder than everything else. And that's the only time you ever hear anything. It's just been really eerie.
Something interesting I didn't know until this happened. I didn't know that most meteorologists get a substantial amount of their data for the forecast from air traffic.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so what's interesting is now they're saying that our forecasts are going to be like, not that they're ever accurate, especially here in Colorado, the weather is wrong 90% of the time, but they're saying it's going to be like ridiculously inaccurate now because their primary source of air, storm system movement and everything is that. I mean, they have obviously radar and ground-based things, but they collect a lot of data. Without any planes in the air, they're not getting the data. So the prediction and the weather models are all wrong.
Yeah, it's kind of like when they do traffic reporting with a bunch of, people's Apple devices and Google devices and traffic.
Yeah.
And, this phone seems to have sat quite a while on this road here. It must be a car, therefore traffic, that kind of thing.
Yep.
Now, same deal, just don't have that. So no, it's a unique time in history, and we're all getting front row seats to it. So
yeah.
On a positive note, you guys will be happy to know that Hefe's is still open doing curbside pickup, and they now offer 6 gallons of margarita for $495.
Oh my!
Wow!
So.
Okay.
Those at home.
So if anything positive has come from this,
I mean, that's
the existence of 6-gallon margaritas is definitely one of them.
Margaritas. So, you just take in an old head pack and have them fill it up, and then you just have that stuff on tap.
Yeah. Well, and it's been interesting. I suppose we should discuss this one because it's been the hot topic among detailing circles for the last few weeks. I think you all kind of know what we're kind of alluding to here. But, do we touch this one? Do we not touch this one? What goes on here? I'm very curious to hear people's opinions on this.
What is it?
Well, I mean, basically the whole essential versus non-essential, and then increasing business in a time of crisis and all that stuff. It seems like some people have jumped on that train and a little bit leery about that. Now, I know, Levi, for example, you've been doing details, but you're not like putting out crazy false advertising.
He's not doing coronavirus mitigation.
No, some of these people have gone off the rails in the way they approach that. And this whole thing has just kind of been a very interesting and revealing, moment in time for how
absolutely
see their business and how they approach the customer and the level of honesty some people really have.
Well, so for instance, I detailed the local Les Schwab tire service vehicle, which is their vehicle that one of the girls drives, and she delivers people if they need a ride to work or whatever when they drop off their car to get tires and wheels or an alignment. It's a guy that's been one of my best friends for 15 years, and it's his truck. It's his business. He's the store manager. And Les Schwab basically, treats you treats the store manager as the owner of that location. So for him, his thing was, man, he keeps his trucks really, really clean. He's very OCD. And his thing was, I just need it clean. I just need to make sure that it's at least as clean as it possibly can be. And I said, you understand I can't provide the level of sanitation services needed that you can say it's been sterilized. And he's like, dude, I just need it clean. That's all. I just want to make sure that the truck is at least, he goes, my whole building is wiped down. I just need to make sure that the car is wiped down as well. And so I worked on that this weekend. And then, and I just detailed it, polished it, wiped down the interior. I used peroxide on the carpets and upholstery, PNS's peroxide finisher, and did that because that's probably the best that I could do. And then scrubbed a lot of it with, a soap-based cleaner, scrubbed a lot of the plastics and touch points and steering wheels and everything I could. I did wear a respirator and I had my gloves on just because I don't know who drives that truck and, who they're in contact with.
Yeah, somebody might have borrowed it briefly and that one person could have been the thing that threw it all off. You just don't know. You weren't there, so you can't be sure.
Yeah, and then I soaked all my interior tools, all my brushes, everything in a bucket and washed all my towels. But the point is, I'm not advertising it, and my customers are customers that are smart and understand that, and they're asking me to detail their car.
They're like personal requests.
Kind of like Phil. Phil's not out there advertising sanitation services on vehicles. You're still doing new car preps. You're still doing, clear bra, PPF services and things like that. So,
it's crazy. I'm almost trying to figure out how can you disinfect the car when there's not even a vaccine for it yet. How do you even know what you're taking off or whatever? But that's what I don't get. But
there's only that one system. It's what the Clorox 360 or something. It's what the airlines use to sterilize aircraft. It's it's basically it's a pneumatic electrostatic fogging device. It's like this cart with a gun and this special chemical mixture that will just kill everything. It also you can't inhale it. I mean, it's potentially toxic if it's in the air when you're in there, that kind of stuff. Yeah. So I don't know of any detailers who have invested in these systems yet. So anybody who's claiming to spritz COVID-19 with 3 seconds of steam and it's dead is crazy. But it comes back to that honesty thing, right? You just have to be honest. I cannot guarantee that this will do anything for this. I know I can clean it. It will look shiny. It will smell nice, but the unforeseen things or the things I can't see, I can't address those.
Well, yeah, and you see folks who kind of lean into the angle where, I'm going to do an antibacterial product and I'm going to disinfect. They don't say COVID-19, but they allude as if they're doing that, and it's the implication. And I always feel a little, I don't feel good about that. That feels a little skeevy to me. It's that gray area they're playing in. And it's like, I know what you're doing, but
I didn't say it did, but I didn't say that it didn't. Right? Omission.
Sin of omission.
Yeah. Dylan, what are your thoughts on the whole microban thing for chemicals?
That's kind of where I'm going at with this. Is I haven't seen anything that says that stuff is effective on the particular virus that we're dealing with right now. It's effective on a lot of bacteria and other things, but nothing I've seen. And so that kind of is what the point that Dane was even making is there's been an increase in marketing of not just things like that, but there's other products that are, interior cleaning products that are out there that some companies are pushing a little harder on right now. And they're not saying that it does, but they're also not saying that it doesn't. And I think that's a dangerous thing because the implication we say, it's antimicrobial. Well, to the layman, they're going to go, okay, well that means it kills tiny little things that I can't see, including viruses, right? And that's just that's a dirty way to play a little bit. I mean, you're not being dishonest, but you're not exactly being honest either about your approach.
Yeah.
No, the way I see it is that you should be wiping down things regardless. Even if it's not something that maybe meant to, obviously isn't proven to kill anything. Is it going to hurt to wipe things down with an interior cleaner? Is it going to hurt to wipe things down with an antimicrobial? Is it going to hurt to do any of that, right? Versus not doing it at all? I think that I'd rather see people doing something than nothing at all because, again, people are, they're freaked out and they're like, I don't know. I'm happy that people are doing something rather than nothing. But is what they're doing even making a difference? We don't know, but at least they're doing something. So I don't know.
Yeah, and something's better than nothing. I guess where my issue with it lies really is in when the world is normal and there's not a pandemic, companies become very focused on consumer education as long as there's an opportunity to sell a product in that vein.
Correct. Oh yeah.
I want to educate people on how dirty gas station, pumps are and why they need to use this product to clean their interior. Nobody's bothering to use consumer education to make sure people are not buying product for the wrong reason right now, right? So if you're going to be fully committed to that in the times where it benefits you, you should also be committed to it in the times that it doesn't. So you have to be willing to make the statement that this product does not do what you might assume it does, or at least is we don't know if it kills this thing because we know you're buying this because you are worried about this thing. Well, if you don't either know or you do know, you need to at least educate the consumer. And it's always the selective consumer education piece that drives me crazy with some companies is, when it's to your benefit, you want to educate people about everything that product does. But when it's not to your benefit, you don't want to educate them on the things that it doesn't do when you know what their assumptions are going to be. Yeah. And it's that honesty piece that's missing. And I've seen there was a video circulating social media a couple days ago where it was one of the major auto publications / vlogs or whatever that generally puts out bad detailing information every so often that everybody latches onto. Was talking about how to sanitize your interior, and they were using Lysol disinfecting wipes, which do sanitize, right? But then all the comments were very funny from all the detailers that were trying to, that stuff's going to dry out the plastic, it's going to ruin the interior of that car, blah, 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 blah. Which is fine, and it probably will, because those things are usually generally heavily laden with alcohol and all kinds of stuff.
Oh yeah.
The first thought that jumped into my head was, well, would you rather protect yourself from an infectious disease or worry about drying out your interior? There's
I can't breathe, but my console sure looks good.
Yeah.
Well, there's also nothing to stop them from following up with an interior protectant after that is done. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like
that's what Anthony and I've been doing.
And that's where when we made a post, I think it was like a last week, right, where we said, hey, microfiber towels can be useful in conjunction with something the CDC recommends for wiping down. An alcohol-based cleaner that has at least whatever it is, a 70% alcohol rating, 75% alcohol rating, or something like that. So you can still absolutely use your microfiber towels. It's going to be more absorbent. It's probably going to be more effective than a paper towel. But there's nothing to stop you from cleaning that, disinfecting it, however way you see fit, but then going over with your favorite interior protectant that you would normally do, right? That interior protectant isn't going to null or isn't going to
undo the sanitizing.
Undo the sanitizing's already done. You've already done that portion. Now go over it and protect it. So for the people that I understand exactly what you're saying, because I saw the same post of people saying, oh, you're going to ruin this stuff. Well, you're going to ruin the stuff potentially if you keep doing that over and over and over again. But again, at the cost of what's more important, your health or these door panels. But just take the same crap that you would typically use after using an interior cleaner and then go over it to protect it. It's the same concept. Just people, they're not even thinking about that. They're just
resale value has a lot less meaning when you're dead. Just saying.
Yeah, exactly.
just laying that one out there. Free advice.
We live in our little detailing bubble, and there's all this misinformation. And then you take a step away from detailing and just realize how much misinformation there is, period, in the world right now.
Yeah.
It's no surprise that the detailing community at large, there are those out there that are doing a great job of trying to educate people. I'll give kudos to Rennie for doing his series. Those have been, and he's doing a good job of sticking to the facts as far as he can prove them or knows them. And there's other guys out there doing stuff like that as well. And but for every one of those, there's 100,000 Facebook conversations where guys are,
based on half truths and misinformation that kind of then get pushed into, well, I heard, and then it just becomes a nightmare. I do really appreciate the people though who are trying to stay on top of, not to bring up politics, but what's going on politically, and just be okay, this bill was going through, here are the things we know about it, here's what didn't make it, here's what did, and trying to get information out to people who may not otherwise have any clue because they're not going to sit and watch C-SPAN all day.
Yeah, and you got to fact check everything at this point. I mean, it's funny. It takes this kind of an event in our lives for everybody to get real serious about fact checking, or at least those of us who care, right? Well, but then the regular times nobody's doing any fact checking. It's just I'll reshare that on Facebook. And
Yeah.
I like the way this makes me feel. Share. Yeah.
Yes, I like it. It agrees with my preconceived ideas. I will share this.
I don't feel challenged. Share. Okay. So yeah, that's basically a big one. But I do think it's important to talk about and bring up. Not that it's not already happening a million times as it is, but thank you, Tim, for the heads up. We're at the half-hour mark, in case anybody's wondering.
So Phil, are you seeing any is there any change in what you're selling? Like people are buying more of one thing, or like just in what your online sales for Detailer's Domain are? And
I think I'm not seeing much of a change. I think you see a sporadic change with the weather and the boredom, I think, because you could see and it almost comes every 24 to 48 hours for me, where we'll goose egg a day, and then boom, the next day I'm calling Travis at Rupes, when are the ESs coming back in stock, right? So we're sold out of our base unit machines, where I'm just like, that's weird, because Dylan knows we sell Mark IIIs, we don't sell ESs, but lately we've been stocking ESs and selling them. So either people want to get out of their porter cables, because now's the time, you might as well buy a new tool while you're spending 8-9 hours on a weekend doing your car because you're bored.
Yeah.
I'm seeing those kind of buys. I'm getting customers saying, I've never done this before. I'm not going to bring it to a detailer now, and I have plenty of time because I want to, I'm bored as heck, and I'd rather be outside. That's what we're seeing.
Yeah.
There's an interesting jump, like those people who are still working by and large, and I always have to say these things, like keep in mind that there are people who are really, we've seen what the unemployment numbers are. So there's a lot of people who have no discretionary income now. But the interesting thing for those people who do still have discretionary income is that it's almost, I'm guilty of it. I got a new Apple Watch, not because I needed a new Apple Watch, because I was bored. Like, it's just like there's this level of like boredom shopping that's happening now. I'm putting some serious thought into buying a Peloton. That's a $3,000 exercise bike.
Anthony has one. So
okay, good. So me and Anthony can race each other on our Pelotons. But
it's not a bad buy. I got one too. So
you and I both know Travis, so we know. But
Anthony, tell us about yours. This is crazy. Listen to how Katie got hurt.
Well, so it's like kind of a weird situation. So we have a place in Idaho, Boise, called a cycle bar, right? It's basically think of it like a gym for cyclists, where people just go and they cycle together, right? Basically, since they shut that down and they shut all the gyms down, they did this thing where they said, basically, if you are continuing to pay your membership for this, right, for $20, we will deliver one of the bikes to your house, until all this stuff blows over, and you can continue to basically use that, and you get a pair of shoes and all this stuff. So now in my living room, I have a freaking bike in the middle of my living room for God knows how long now. So
just needs to get himself some shoes.
It was a good idea, and so, but basically, and so it just continues to pay your membership. It'd be like a gym saying, "Hey, let's deliver all these weights to your door so you can continue working out, even though you're paying your membership." So
it's an interesting approach. I actually kind of appreciate they took
that. Yeah, you kind of like it, actually.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and so they delivered it. They dropped it off the door, no contact, no nothing. I can see on the Ring doorbell, they wiped it all down with Lysol wipes and everything like that. And so all we had to do was just wheel it into the living room. So now I'm the proud owner of a very nice cycling bike thing, I guess, for, who knows how long.
So kudos to those people for, even if they didn't think anybody was watching, actually wiping that down. That's also good to hear.
They actually did it. Yeah. That's what you do when no one's watching, right? But yeah, so it's funny, the amount of kind of spending that's happening, because to Phil's point, we see it too. The spikes at Rupes here and there it's a lot of stuff that was previously probably a little bit more consumer focused. So not professionals, but like the 15 ES, like Phil mentioned, seen a kind of an uptick in the 12E, the Duettos, and things like that. And so it seems like people who probably would have maybe paid for a detail before this, or just maybe didn't have the time to invest in learning how to do it, are just like, well, I got nothing other to do than to watch YouTube videos and finally figure this out, so I'm going to do it. And I don't think I'm immune. I'm finishing all kinds of different projects around the house now that I was not doing before. And, like I said, I might buy a Peloton. I think I'm going to learn another language here.
Nice.
Find something to fill all the time.
All right, Rosetta Stone, here we go.
Is doing 3 months for free right now.
Yeah.
Who is?
Yeah. My Rosetta Stone is doing 3 months for free. I think my kid signed up for
That's
for
smart.
Chinese and something else.
I was looking
really
into that
smart.
for Norwegian.
Well, these things are escalating ever so slowly because GM's floating. I think it's 84 months, 0% interest with 6 months deferred payments. And like, I don't need a Denali 2500 right now, but
I got the most desperate phone call from that Hyundai dealership I went to. Oh God, that guy.
If Ford offers something similar, I'm going to own a Raptor so fast you guys won't even believe it. It's like, I'm going to buy 2 of them.
Don't worry. For some reason, C8 Corvettes will still sell for above book.
Exactly. It's still a dealer markup.
Yeah, they don't care.
No, it's definitely. Sorry, go ahead, Phil.
No, it's funny. I think the one thing I worry about long term would be it could go both ways, right? The consumer behavior is going to change for sure. Yes. Like I got a not the best phone call, but we quoted out a Model Y, I think last Friday, and the guy goes, "I want the work, so I'm definitely going to you. I'm not even shopping." And then I texted him back on Monday just to try to set up this week, and he goes, "Hey, I'll let you know on Thursday. Either I'm heading back to Tesla, jobless, and giving back their car in 7 days, because their return policy is 7 days now for them, or I'm dropping it off Friday morning and you're doing the full car wrap. I just got to find out if I have a job Wednesday night or not."
Oh my God!
So,
wow.
Oh yeah, that was. I mean, I sent it to a couple, buddies to show. Hey man, this is the extreme. It's not even they're shopping. They want to go to us. They just might not have a car to go to us with.
Yeah.
So that's a big extreme to what Dylan was saying. Either you're laid off like a restaurant, like many restaurant workers, right? Or you're like, you're still cash healthy and you're still shopping without potentially thinking about the long term. I don't know.
Well, that's what I was going to say next is it's only a matter of time for those of us who are still employed. We have to get all of those people who are not back to being employed again, because ultimately we're insulated a little bit. All of us on this call to a degree are insulated a little bit, but there comes a point in time if the consumer at the end of that chain is unable to purchase the goods because they're unemployed, then that starts to eat its way back. It's reverse. It's trickle up economics. I guess. I don't know. Like it's why I said earlier, it's like it's not lost on me that there are a number of people who are unemployed and don't have discretionary income right now, because it's not all sunshine and rainbows for those people, certainly. And I'm very appreciative that we're in the position that we're in, because I can continue to work and continue to have income, but there's only so long that this continues to happen before it falls apart for all of us. It's
you got it. Yeah.
Well, and the hard part is like there was essentially kind of a pause button push for a lot of people in any kind of work, but rents are still due, mortgages are due, all these other things are still in motion in a lot of places because they haven't put any kind of hold on that. And that whole thing is just going to trip it up. I know it's super uncomfortable for people, but the reality is if one part pauses, the other part has to as well. Otherwise, everything goes really bad, really fast. So this is basically a real test for a lot of people. Though that's good to hear. So I think in some of the bigger cities, they're paying closer attention to
that. During these next 2-3 months, or I think 6 months, you can evict. You can't foreclose. You cannot, even if you can't pay your next month, you have a place to stay.
Yeah,
you're staying.
Yeah, because the worst thing you can do is force somebody to become homeless in the middle of a pandemic. Like, oh, sorry, bud, you're out. Like that's that's just sick. Home, so. You can't do that to someone.
Yeah. But it starts to go back to that trickle up idea, though. So if the guy can't pay his rent and the landlord can't evict and he's not going to be able to fill, then the landlord is floating a note potentially
Right.
for the loan on that.
Yeah,
so eventually
nobody's
it hits
getting
everybody.
paid. Yeah, nobody's getting
nobody's
paid.
getting paid anywhere. So it all affects all of us. It's just how long it takes to get.
Yeah,
to
so there has to be a grace period for pretty much everybody on up the chain, just to be able to withstand, the shock absorption, so to speak, until you get that rebound. But it's going to take a while. And when people do start to go out, it's going to be a slow roll. It's not going to be like, oh, we're all back outside again. It's not going to work like that. It's going to be people will go out slowly. The people who are more cautious are going to wait a little longer, and it's just going to be a eventual rollout. But everybody's going to be a little paranoid for a while until they see, things are a little bit calmer. And you know what's going to happen? It is going to come back again to a degree. There are going to be some hot spots and stuff. But with any luck, it'll, be smaller and smaller as time goes on and the vaccine is developed and all this stuff is handled in due time. But we're still, 10 months, 12 months out from that. So,
Yeah. The one thing I know, well, it's funny because, we've all watched, every single movie in preparation for a pandemic, in one way, shape, or form, right? We've all seen the movies and stuff like that, right? And so I'm sitting here, I'm the guy that I'm like really excited that hopefully, we'll have a vaccine soon, or they'll be able to use some type of a different type of medication or something like that was used for something else that would be more effective in treating this. But then there's that thing in the back of my brain that says like, well, I remember World War Z, and I remember this, and I remember 28 Days Later, and I remember all these other vaccines. I'm like, well, I kind of want to see some long-term testing on this stuff. But
it's mostly just remembering here in Idaho and probably over in Colorado, everybody's got a neighbor who's probably got a bunker.
Yeah.
A lot of gun owners. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely true. But
if you can't use a Hollywood zombie movie as your instruction for a pandemic, what can you use, really?
What can we trust?
Well, it's funny because I've been playing, and obviously after work I've been playing, Call of Duty, and in Call of Duty there's a mode called infection or something like that, right? Where if you take out one guy, now you're an infected person, and in every single chat room on Call of Duty in the infection thing, right?
I can only imagine.
Everybody's on the same topic. They're like, oh, just preparing.
Just getting ready.
I'm like, I don't think it's gonna work like this. I don't think the infected are gonna have knives. Is this how this is gonna happen?
Be worried about the ones who seem a little too excited about it.
Yeah,
I'll just put it that way.
Finally, it's my chance to shine.
Well,
no.
Well, to that point, at TRC, we've had to. So we have like a campus. Dylan, you've been there. We have a large parking lot with a large number of buildings on it. Two of the buildings are not so busy because one's a gymnastics facility and the other one's a basketball facility for children. And so they've been kind of shuttered. And so all that really is working is us, and we're inside the warehouse. We closed our storefront. So there's, no windows really in that area. And Saturday, Jeff was saying that there was a gentleman cruising the lot looking in the buildings because nobody's around. So there's a lot of buildings that have closed that maybe don't have cameras or security, so to speak. And there's folks that are like, man, maybe I just lost my job. I can go steal some of that metal over there and take it down to the recycler and make a little money.
Ooh, copper.
Nobody's there, but that's what we had. There was a guy cruising around the parking lot on Saturday, creeping, looking for stuff. And then I guess later we found out that ISI, a neighbor of ours, had been broken into and had a bunch of metal stolen. Just a bunch of metal scrap. So there's the, it's getting to a point for some folks that, no one's around.
What's interesting too is that, so we, in Ada County, right, and where we're at in Boise, we have, it's called the Ada County Sheriff's inmate roster that you have, or your newest arrest roster.
You can look them up every morning.
It's just called the repository.
It's just the repository. You can jump on there and you can see who had been arrested, the night previously.
Who got a DUI.
What's funny is that, who got a DUI, who, burglary, whatever the hell it is. And what's funny is that, before this all started, we would have probably 1, 2, maybe even 3 pages full of people that had been getting arrested. And I've been checking it every day just because I've been curious. We've had 3 to 4 arrests per day since this all started. That's it. 3 to 4
total. Yeah,
total
because
in the
no one's
entire
out
county
doing crimes.
So like crime on a I guess, I don't, at least maybe they're not looking for it. I don't know what's going on.
They're
but
not.
basically,
A lot of it was DUIs. A lot of it was DUIs, and people are home and they're not leaving. All the bars and restaurants are closed. So
this person kind of stands out.
Yeah.
You can't exactly blend in, weaving up and down a road.
Yeah, no. Oh man. Well, I think this has been a pretty interesting conversation. I think a lot of people have something they can take away from this. But want to add anything left, guys? Plug stuff, talk about anything left, or you think we're good to go?
Well, I think you guys can all cruise over to Phil's at detailersdomain.com.
Yes.
If you're home, you're hanging out, you're listening to some, watching some podcasting, some YouTube videos. Go over there, check out his website, pick up some great items.
If you have some discretionary income, send it to a good local business, or maybe not local, but still, Phil's a good guy. You should support him.
Yeah.
Buy more Mark IIIs from him. Buy more. Everybody buy a Mark III.
Everybody buy Mark III.
And then Dylan will be happy too.
Fun fact.
He'll be really happy, I think.
What most people don't know is I bought the very first Rupes 21 for the state of Idaho. Came from Phil.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
So my first Rupes came out of Phil's area. So it came from Phil's purchases.
Well,
so
thank you.
I appreciate it. But
all right, guys. Well, anything left to add
Dylan?
before I round us out, Dylan?
I'm gonna say I'm bummed because I would have already been up to see you guys. We had to cancel my annual Boise trip, so I'm excited to get back to old normal again whenever that does happen and get up there and see you guys. But this is the next best thing, I guess. See all your faces. Yep. But yeah, the Rupes team is still grinding away. I actually, just before I jumped on with you guys, we had our first virtual international sales meeting, like 40 sales managers from all over the world on one Zoom call. So
wow,
we're still conducting business. We're still out there. Since you guys and Phil are distributors, you saw an email go out yesterday, some interesting stuff coming. And so we're going to keep working. We're not pretending it isn't what it is, but we're definitely going to keep moving forward, because what other choice do we have?
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for coming in, joining us. Just
Phil,
even for a little while, it's been awesome.
No, I'm good, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, brother.
It's good to catch up with you guys.
Oh, you too, man. You too.
Yeah, brother.
Cool.
All right. Well,
all right,
I'll
Dane,
round this out here. So, everybody who's watching right now, thank you so much for watching. And do please support these businesses. We really try and look out, and, our friends. Yes, they're our friends, but also they're good businesses. Please support them. And us while you're at it, that can't hurt. But at the same time, only do it if you have discretionary income or money that you were intending to spend on these things. Don't buy stuff you don't have to if you don't want to. Nobody's forcing you. So, at any rate, once again, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you are subscribed to the Rag Company Podcast YouTube channel, as well as the Rag Company YouTube channel, and click that bell, because that's the only way you're ever going to know when we actually put stuff out. And you guys have a channel over there, don't you, Rupes and Detail? Whoa, I got a bunch of noise.
Ooh, wasn't for me.
What was that?
Yeah, so at Rupes USA everywhere. So at Rupes USA on Instagram, at Rupes USA on Facebook, YouTube, all the other places you can find us.
Excellent. And Phil?
Oh, sorry about that feedback. That was on my side.
That's okay.
But no, we're good. Just check us out. I appreciate everything, and for you guys having me out.
No problem. And I know you guys have a really busy Instagram account. There's always stories going on and stuff. So I would tell people go and check them out there if you want to give them the handle, Phil.
Yeah, it's just Detailers Domain. We try to stay active with whatever is going in the shop, typically.
And there's usually some cool stuff coming through. So, all right, guys, this is it. Till next time, adios.
See ya.
Take care. Bye.